Hey guys, welcome to Legal Essentials, where we enlighten you on matters arising from the perspective of the law. And today we're going to be talking on the VDM, Bobrisky and the FALZ saga. So let's get into it. I'm guessing you've heard of the VDM, Bobrisky and Femi Falana and FALZ issue, but if you have not, let me catch you up on what has been going on. On the 5th of April 2024, a social media influencer that we all know called Idris Olarewaju, popularly known as Bobrisky, was arraigned by the EFCC on a 6-count charge ranging from money laundering to the abuse of naira. Now, the money laundering charge was dropped, but he was convicted of the abuse of naira under Section 21, Sub 3 of the Central Bank of Nigeria Act, which specifically criminalizes the abuse of naira, and this constitutes the spraying off, the dancing or the matching on of naira notes or any other notes that is issued by the bank for any special occasion or otherwise. And it is punishable by an imprisonment of not less than 6 months or a fine of not less than 50k or both. Now, the second party to this saga is a social media influencer called Vincent Martins, popularly known as Very Dark Man or VDM. He made a post warning Bobrisky to do the needful by paying up a loan he had gotten from a certain unknown person on the 9th of June at 2:11 p.m. Now, Very Dark Man had alleged in his post that when it was time for Bobrisky to pay back his loan, he started to act funny, even avoiding the calls of his lender. And when he was pressured by the lender, he even threatened to blackmail the lender with alleged homosexuality if he didn't leave him alone. Now, the lender, frustrated and with no other option, came to VDM to tell his story and also provide proof to maybe get Bobrisky to pay his money. You know what? Watch for yourself.
Alright, Bobrisky. I would advise you that after you see this post, you should do the needful. But you being you, I know that after you see the post, you want to prove stubborn. You want to prove that you don't have shame. Yes, we go drag, and no get shame. But this is beyond dragging, right? This is beyond dragging. If after this post you don't do the needful, let me tell you what will happen. A lot of things will go wrong for you. You might lose connection, you might lose friend, and everybody that is involved in what I have, everybody where they involved, they will suffer.
After the video you just watched, VDM made a second post stating that Bobrisky had finally paid his debt on September 24th, 2024.
Bobrisky don't pay. As you can see, Bobrisky have transferred 4 million naira to the guy. Now,
before the payment was made, VDM actually released a second video on his page that triggered Bobrisky to pay up his loan. Here it is.
In respect to Bobrisky, what I'm about to post now, a lot of names will be mentioned. These are people that I also respect, and I believe a lot of Nigerians respect them as well. I am very, very disappointed in the agencies that are involved in this, and I believe that this call recording that I'm about to play, even Bobrisky will not expect it. That is what is crazy. But all the people that will be mentioned, I don't care. You understand? I don't care. And from today, no longer respect for all of you.
We have to beg them that, okay, if they want to remove the money laundering, how much would they collect? And so we should go and bring 15 million that they will remove the money laundering. You know, I was on my way to the prison, then my godfather called me and said, you will not enter that prison, don't worry. Let me make arrangements for an apartment close to the prison. Is going to call the controller, bad guy. His father is a son. So first reached out to me, his father spoke to me, his father said we can apply for pardon.
From the video just watched, here are key points that fueled this saga. The first is the corruption embedded in the EFCC. Second is who Bobrisky's godfather is and what is the extent of his influence. The third one is how the Controller General could bend to the will of Bobrisky's godfather. And the fourth one is how Femi Falana and FALZ are involved in this whole saga. Here is the summary of the recording. So we know that Bobrisky was arraigned on a 6-count charge ranging from money laundering to the abuse of naira. He alleged that the EFCC asked him to bring 50 million naira to drop the money laundering charge, and he was convicted on the abuse of naira charge. He said he was able to pay the money by reaching out to some of his friends to get money from them. After trial, he was sentenced to 6 months in prison by Justice Abimbola Adegboro of the Federal High Court, Lagos. On his way to prison, Bobrisky alleged that his godfather called him and told him that he wasn't going to go to prison. And this godfather told him that he was going to call the Controller General to arrange a place for him to stay that was not the prison. Further into this conversation, Bobrisky alleged that Folarin Falana, popularly known as FALZ, reached out to him, and he, Bobrisky, alleged that he spoke with Femi Falana's son, who enlightened him on the presidential pardon and its processes. Bobrisky said that he was asked to bring the sum of 10 million naira for this presidential pardon, and this was actually the reason for the conversation, as he wanted to borrow money from this lender. After VDM exposed the recording, one Taiwo Olawanle Esquire from the Falana and Falana chambers replied to him on September 25th with a 3-page letter demanding the withdrawal and retraction of the defamatory statement made against the Falanas. On the same day, VDM's lawyer, Deji Adeyonju Esquire, replied to this letter stating that there was no defamatory statement made against the eminent son, but firmly asserting that he only desires the relevant authorities and persons involved to be thoroughly investigated. Finally, Folakemi Falana on September 27th weighed in via a post she made that her father's firm had been applying for presidential pardon for Nigerians since time immemorial for completely free, and that the statement that her father might be involved in any bribery, corruption or perversion to the cause of justice was absurd. She also stated that the statement that her brother might be involved in homosexuality and be having an affair with Bobrisky was wild, and that any Nigerian could apply for presidential pardon for any convicted person. She ended her post by saying this: "Seeing that you have refused to do the needful as very dark black man, see you in court." Isn't that exciting? All this brings us to the main point of today's discussion, which is defamation. That is, what does the law say about defamation in Nigeria? What are the ingredients to prove defamation, and what are the defenses to defamation? So let's talk about it. Now, what is defamation? Defamation in law is a false statement made about the person that damages the person's reputation. Simply put, it insults a person's image, ego, or persona, and it can be in two forms: slander or libel. Now, what is slander? Slander is a temporal, a time-based false statement made about a person, and it is usually in form of a speech or a gesture. For one to successfully prove slander, must prove that this harmful statement has caused the person that the statement was made about either financial loss or moral loss. Libel, on the other hand, is more permanent. It is a harmful statement that is made in a permanent way. So it could be written or in other forms like radio broadcasts, podcasts, etc. The 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria does not have any specific provisions for defamation, but the Criminal Code, the Penal Code, and the Cyber Crimes Act have specific criminal limitations to the exercise of freedom of expression and maps out specific punishments such as imprisonment or fines. Accordingly, Section 375 of the Criminal Code roughly states that anyone who publishes any defamatory matter is guilty of a misdemeanor and is liable to an imprisonment of up to 1 year. And any person who knowingly publishes any defamatory matter is liable to an imprisonment of up to 2 years. That is simply to state that if you make any harmful statement and are tried to court, you could be charged with up to 1 year in prison. And if you knowingly make any harmful statement, you could be charged to up to 2 years in prison. And now we're going to look at the ingredients that must be present to succeed in a defamation case and relate that to Mr. Femi Falana's defamation suit. Now, when we talk on the ingredients to prove defamation, we simply mean the ingredients that are available to the claimant, which is the paying party, to succeed in an action for defamation. And the first one is that the statement made must be seen as defamatory to not just a particular group of the public, but to the majority of the public. And let me explain what I mean. From this case, some people might agree that the statements made by Very Dark Man were defamatory, and some people won't. But from the onset of his post, we could tell that Very Dark Man's objective was to bring light to the deficiencies deep-rooted in the system, and his main focus was Bobrisky. And it was Bobrisky's statement as to the involvement of the Falanas that brought about his reaction. Being that Femi Falana is a celebrated knight in the citadel of justice, it came as a shock to a lot of people to hear his involvement in this case, although it is not wrong for him to render his professional advice of an application for presidential pardon. The second ingredient is that the word must refer to the claimant or the pained party. Now, from the video, the statements perceived to be defamation are...
And this same FALZ, if this story is true, this same FALZ, we have the audacity to come out and say it's fighting against the government for oppression. That he wants justice, he wants Nigeria to be better. So that like this, you dey carry yourself. I don't want to believe that Femi Falana will bring himself down to this level. The whole Femi Falana, where be Fela lawyer, where we respect. Femi Falana will engage himself in something like this. Wait, what is the relationship between FALZ and Bobrisky? Abi FALZ self they do?
From the above extraction, it is crystal clear that the Falanas were referred to in VDM's post from the 7:50 minute to the 11:10 minute of the video with little to no interjections. The third ingredient is that the defamatory words were maliciously published. Now, judging from VDM's post, it is difficult to prove the malicious nature of his content. Yes, most of the words he used were insulting to the person of the renowned San, but it lacked serious malicious content. The content he rather had was a surprising expression and reaction that led him to use the insensitive words he stated. Now that we know the ingredients available to the claimant to successfully prove that the other party damaged his reputation, we are going to look at the defenses that are actually available for the defendant. Here are some defenses that are commonly raised, and the first one is justification, which is provided for in section 377 of the Criminal Code Law and section 391 sub 2I of the Penal Code Law, and states that one must prove that the statement being made is true in fact and substance, irrespective of whether the statement was made out of malice or as fair comment, and the duty to prove this falls on the defendant. The next defense we have is fair comment. Now, if the harmful statement being complained of is made in good faith or is subject to public interest, it is a fair comment. However, the statement must be one of opinion and not a statement of fact. The fact on which the statement is made must be true. The comment must be impartial or unbiased, and the comment must not be triggered by malice. The last defense is privilege. Now, the law allows or permits specific individuals such as judges or members of the National Assembly to write or speak without restraint or fear, even at the detriment of the reputation of another. On the 14th of October 2024, the legal team at Falana and Falana's chambers successfully filed a suit against Very Dark Man for defamation. Interesting, isn't it? I mean, the Very Dark Man, Bobrisky and Falana saga has been an exposition of relative issues bordering the system, and now this defamation suit is going to be an educative and entertaining ride as the days go by. So tell me, having seen and heard all I have said, that is what the law says about defamation in Nigeria, the ingredients to prove defamation and the defenses to defamation, do you think that Very Dark Man will succeed in the legal battle against him by the law firm of the Falana and Falana chambers? And what defenses from those listed above do you think that Very Dark Man's lawyer, Deji Adeyojun, will likely rely on? Let us know in the comment section. Finally, we would love to use this medium to add, since we're on the topic of defamation, slander or libel cases are not to be handled or administered by the police, but are solely the duty of the courts as they are civil wrongs. Therefore, it is utterly irresponsible for people to use the police and or other law enforcement agencies to oppress others in cases where the police and or other law enforcement agencies are not needed. More so, the police and or other law enforcement agencies should know the law, respect the law, and not allow themselves to be used as thuggish tools in the misplaced spite of another. When defamation cases are brought to them, they should use their wisdom to advise or refer these cases to the appropriate arm. This advice is born on the recent case of Burna Boy arresting Speed Darlington, and in November last year, the sex therapist Jaroma and the billionaire businessman Ned Nwoko. That's all for today's video. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a like. If you've learned one or two from this video, make sure to leave it down below in the comment section, and do not forget to share these videos to your friends so they get a deeper understanding of how defamation works. I'm Grace, and I'll see you next time.